All right, so this is the Elite Review Podcast. We got a special guest today. His name is Mark. I didn't get your last name. What's your last name, man?
Well, I don't really share my last name.
Okay, that's fine.
Mark
Anonymous.
Yes, Mark Anonymous.
He sold that guy's pizza. He's got a daily Raimi account here on Instagram. It's great. Just really wanted to quickly ask you, man, how did your love for Star Wars start, or how did you get into Star Wars?
Well, actually, it's quite an interesting story. I never really was into Star Wars when it sort of first. Well, obviously, I was never even born when it came out, but my love for Star Wars didn't really come until a bit later on, when the sequels started to sort of release and stuff. So I guess my love for Star Wars kind of came from that, and then I went back and I just saw all of the movies, and I just I didn't think I fell completely in love at first, but after a little while, I definitely got into it, and I think a lot of that has to do with not necessarily the movies themselves, but I think it's a lot of media outside of the movies. And then when you put that into the bigger picture, I think that's where my love for Star Wars just sort of started to thrive, because I love, not only are the old movies like incredible for their time, but like even the new movies, they're still pretty good. And even the sequels, which, well, I know you guys, I've talked to you guys about this before, but the sequels do still have their parts to them that I do think are like, they're cool. They're cool.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, at least we all love Star Wars in some way. Everybody loves it differently, of course, but it's still cool to talk about it together. So today, if nobody knows, we're talking about Revenge of the Sith. We're always going to kind of rank it together and kind of talk about how we all feel about Revenge of the Sith here. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, we've already ranked the originals all the way to Attack of the Clones. So make sure you check those ones out. But let's go ahead and get into it. So you can start here, Mark. But what are just kind of the general thoughts on Revenge of the Sith? What would you just tell someone how you feel about Revenge of the Sith?
Where do I start? Well, I think right off the bat, the film it's by far the best movie of the prequels. I think most people agree. Revenge of the Sith is definitely the best of the prequels. Yeah. But like, I kind of feel like the prequels themselves, it's just kind of Revenge of the Sith. Like, all of the ideas of the prequels, sort of, you can tell they're all sort of stemming from the ideas that were sort of put into Revenge of the Sith. You get what I mean? Like, I think, so on that standpoint, it's definitely the best of the prequels, but as a movie itself, I did not. I feel like I need to rehearse this or something. Because my mind is just sort of going from one place to the other right now. But I think
it's all good.
I think Revenge of the Sith is a fun movie. It's a very fun film, and I think it does what it's supposed to do very well. I think there's certainly issues within Revenge of the Sith that are throughout, the entire prequel trilogy. Like, the dialogue probably isn't the best. Some of the characters, I guess you could argue, aren't really developed that well. So you kind of have to get a bit of outside knowledge to sort of get a full grasp on why these movies are important and why they're meaningful to the Star Wars universe. But I think, having said that, Revenge of the Sith is probably the only film in the entire prequel trilogy, and probably the entire saga, that has, for me personally, that has an amount of depth that gets you straight into it. And I think that can be demonstrated through, especially Order 66. I'm trying to think of the wording here. My brain is just gone all over the place. Whenever I start to talk about Revenge of the Sith, I'm like, how am I gonna word this? Because I know what I'm gonna say. Someone else is bound to like disagree with me. But I think at the end of the day, Revenge of the Sith to me is one of the few films in the Star Wars saga that kind of resonates with me, you know. I love the original trilogy. Don't get me wrong; those films are awesome. They're very, very, you know, they're incredible for what they were at the time. Yeah. And even what we have now, I guess, it is what it is. But yeah, I think Revenge of the Sith it's a cool film, and
awesome.
Yeah, it's a good film. Yeah.
Cool.
That's sort of my general thoughts.
Yeah, I like those, man. I like those. Actually, I don't like those. I'm going to argue with you. I'm just kidding. Calm down. Anyway, let's go ahead and rank the characters real quick. And we'll start with you once again, Mark. But we're basically just going to go through aspects of the movie, 1 through 10. We'll just kind of give our thoughts there. So what would you give the characters on a scale of 1 to 10?
All right, I wrote this down. On a scale of 1 to 10 for the characters, I would probably give it a 7. And that's sort of taking into consideration, you know, you got characters like Obi-Wan Kenobi. You've got characters like Anakin.
How about you, Aiden? What do you feel about the characters? Scale 1 to
10. We have completely different opinions on this, I think.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give the characters a 4 out of 10.
Yeah,
nice.
Again, I haven't seen Clone Wars or anything like that.
Yeah, you're kind of gonna get a bit more of an idea, I think.
Yeah,
like
without all that.
Yeah, sorry, I'll let you go.
Just without all that knowledge, it's hard for me. But I really love Obi-Wan. He's definitely one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time. So, yeah.
Cool. I think for me, I give him a 6. They're not my favorite characters. They're okay. I think the majority of the 6 is from Obi-Wan, and then maybe 2 out of 6 for Anakin.
I feel
for me at least. I think Obi-Wan's at his best here, but that's just because I love Ewan McGregor, and I think he's finally given the right amount of screen time and everything in this movie.
Yeah.
I really like seeing General Grievous too. Like, he's cool. But he just doesn't have much character to him or anything.
Yeah, and I mean, Dooku's in it for a second. That's okay. Palpatine's got some cool stuff. I mean, it's the best of Palpatine out of the prequels, I think, because he's just kind of a senator in the other two.
It's
a good Yoda. Yeah, so I mean, the characters aren't too bad, but it's not my favorite.
Padme and Anakin, though, I can't stand them.
I feel that. I definitely feel it. But let's go back. I think the reason why I gave the characters a 7 is really because, I mean, a 7's not really the biggest rating either. Like, I'm not saying the characters are all incredible characters. They're all developed. Yeah. It's like, nah. But the prequels, I think the problem with all of the prequels is that you need to have that outside knowledge of why these events are happening. Otherwise, it kind of just doesn't make much sense. So that's kind of a fault of the writing, I think, is that you don't have enough substance in the movies that really get you to care about the characters, you know? Like, outside of the incredible performance by, of course, Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, and I think even Hayden Christensen was pretty good as Anakin. I think there's really not much characters. I did like Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu, even though he was a bit of a dick.
I forgot about him.
I always forget he's in the movie, but I do like Sam Jackson, anything he's in. So.
Yeah, I actually watched a little bit of Revenge of the Sith before this, so I was like, it's sort of like fresh in my brain.
Nice.
I think by far the best scene of this film is definitely the end part with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, my throat. You can tell it's been a while since I've recorded, but I definitely really enjoy probably the main 2 characters as everyone else would. I do like Grievous. Count Dooku's just in this because he is. But
Yeah.
I do like how he advances the story, especially with Anakin. I feel like he does advance, you know, of course, his dark side arc. So it's kind of necessary in this film to advance that. If he were to stay alive, that would be a whole different story, I think. That would completely change everything. But yeah, Palpatine is definitely the best. So yeah, I guess that's why I give it a 7.
Cool. Awesome. Well, let's move on to the dialogue. Let's go 1 to 10. How do you rate the dialogue in this or the script?
This is the one I kind of went backwards and forwards on. I think the dialogue is definitely the best in this film, as is probably everything. But I think I'm going to give the dialogue... You see, I rated it a 7, but I think I'm going to give it a 6. And I think that's just... I think there's some really good dialogue in this film.
Don't feel too harsh.
No, I'm not going to be too harsh on this film, because I genuinely love this film. But I do think the dialogue, it definitely needs some work. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's just some stuff in the film that I think definitely needs some improvement. It definitely has the best dialogue though, especially Obi-Wan and Anakin. I feel like they generally have the best dialogue. Like, of course, it's the main 2 characters. You'd want them to have good dialogue, and I think they do. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. What about you, Aiden?
I'm gonna be. I feel a little bit harsh now, but I'm gonna give it a 3. It's definitely better than the last 2 movies, but man, stuff like Anakin and Padme, or I don't know, just stuff like that. Some of Anakin's acting, or Hayden Christensen's acting and like dialogue is just a little bit cringy. So some of it I just can't stand, but it's definitely better. Love all of Obi-Wan's dialogue. So I don't mean to be too harsh, but that's my rating.
No, man, it's your opinion. I get it. I get it.
For me, I gave it a 5. I think the memes is hard because like the memes drag it down for me because it shouldn't be memeable, but it's so memeable that I like it.
Memeable.
Because I love to quote that movie a lot with especially all the Obi-Wan and Anakin stuff. So I don't know. It's definitely the best dialogue out of all of it, and luckily there's not too much Anakin or Padme talk in it, so it doesn't have to be as bad as the other 2.
Yeah, it's not. It's not like the last movie.
No, that's definitely the worst part, unfortunately.
So
like you're supposed to care so much for them. Like those 2 characters are very important, but you can't. It's just it kind of doesn't work in the prequels, unfortunately. She was better in Clone Wars.
Also, I don't know if this has to do with the dialogue or the plot, but saying Padme just lost the will to live is really stupid.
Like that line? Yeah, I know. Yeah. Or Vader screaming,
like,
no.
You wanna give us some reasoning? Okay.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to the visuals. What would you get the visuals here? Like visually, how do you like it?
I would give the visuals an 8. I would give them an 8. I actually think this film is beautiful. I think there's a lot of the CGI. I think the CGI is not bad in this film. I think it works.
It's so much worse than the other 2 films.
Yeah. No, I like the visuals in this film. I think I think I could say this with all the Star Wars films. The visuals are generally very good. I think I love some of the shots. I think visuals kind of goes hand in hand, I guess, with like the music and tone. I feel like scenes like that give you like a tonal, and you get the music's like. There's one scene where Anakin is just like staring into like the sunset, and he's just like crying. You can tell he's like that scene to me was so powerful.
That's a good scene.
It's good,
and the visuals in that is so good. So that's why I think I'm going to give it an 8. It does have some really good visuals in this film.
It does. Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah.
What about you, Aiden? What'd you give it?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 also. Just, I think the worst CGI in my opinion in any Star Wars movie is probably The Phantom Menace. And this has definitely beat both of the last 2 movies by a landslide. I love the opening shot in space. The whole space scene looks great.
Yeah,
it is good.
It's probably one of the best scenes in the trilogy. And yeah, the music with it too is fantastic in every Star Wars movie. It's great.
Yeah.
And the lightsaber battle at the end, all looks really good.
Perfect. It was perfect. It was the best.
I could have put a music category into this, but I think it's pretty safe to say, every Star Wars movie has good music, of course, because John Williams always does a good score. So I thought it was basically pointless to put that, But
fair enough.
Just the visuals, like the looks, I give it like a 7. I'm totally fine with an 8 or even a 9. I don't know. I'd be fine with whatever, really.
Yeah.
But it's really good visually. I think that opening battle's great. Obviously, being on Mustafar is a really cool planet to create.
Yeah.
It looks really good. I've always actually liked how Coruscant looks. Just the look of buildings and kind of ships flying through and stuff. It's a cool idea. It definitely beats like going to like where do they go in Attack of the Clones? Naboo? Is that where Anakin?
Yeah, Naboo. Yeah,
Naboo. It's better than seeing Naboo. It's better than seeing Jar Jar's planet. It's better than all that. So I like it visually quite a bit more, especially with them both having blue lightsabers. It's just really cool to see when they fight each other. So. This one will be pretty cool. The action. What do you guys think of the action? We'll start with you, Mark.
I think the action. Yeah, I do like the action in this film as well. I think it's pretty safe to say the action is very good. There's a lot of action in Revenge of the Sith. Like, I feel like the first 2 films in the prequels, you kind of get more. It's supposed to be more world building. It's a lot more slow. Whereas in Revenge of the Sith, you just go straight into the action, and it's just like space battle. Space battle. Yeah. Time to save the Chancellor. Time to kill Count Dooku. Like this film. It is a very fast-paced film, I think. Yeah. It's definitely the most fast-paced film of the prequels by far. And I think the action is very good. I love the choreography in the lightsaber fights. Definitely is the best in this film, especially that final fight with Obi-Wan and Anakin. That's definitely the best action I think we've seen in Star Wars. It's probably in that fight there. So I'm definitely happy to give it an 8 for action as well.
Cool. What about you, Aiden?
Yeah, I give it an 8 also. It does have awesome action. One thing though is that General Grievous battle goes on a little bit too long. It overstays its welcome by quite a bit. It's still fun and stuff, but that's kind of what holds it back. But everything else is great. Yeah, the end fight's awesome. It looks great, and I love the choreography and everything. And yeah, it's just so much more space battles too. It feels a lot more Star Warsy than the last one.
It does. Cool. I gave the action a 7. But yeah, it's really cool. The choreography is obviously good. Space battles are good. I think all the fighting is just good. I do love when Obi-Wan fights General Grievous and he kicks him, and then he does that scream. It's really funny to me. Then he tries to kick him. And then just when he shoots his heart and stuff, or when he opens up his it's just like a beating heart. It's so funny to me. But it's got funny action. And then the end is it's cool. I almost wish the end battle was just like one continuous battle instead of cutting back to Palpatine and Yoda fighting.
Oh, that's one thing I didn't like.
Yeah, Palpatine and Yoda fighting's a little it's a little hard for me to like. It's kind of cool, but kind of I like when they're like forcing these things that are spinning. I don't really like
it's pretty ridiculous. I get that.
Yeah, but you have to just I don't know.
And to put it in the end battle with the awesome Mustafar fight just makes it really get bumped down a bit.
Yeah, I think that it's like those two scenes are like kind of just fighting for your attention.
Yeah. But we obviously know
we all love the Mustafar fight, and then you got the I mean, I still think that fight was awesome, but it's definitely not Mustafar level awesome. So
and then just randomly, I still hate how Yoda's just like, I gotta go into exile now. I don't like that. Just
that's so bad.
The Emperor just kind of they both fall back. Yoda falls down.
Yeah,
and he's just like,
Yoda hardly falls down.
I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna head out.
I'm gonna head to Dagobah.
What if they came back later? What if he came back later with like Obi-Wan or something? They could have stopped him.
Yeah. But we'll get into that with the plot real quick here. So let's talk about plot. That'll be our last point here. Mark, go ahead.
Alright, for me, the plot... I'm gonna give the plot... I didn't really give much thought into this. So the plot, I think, would probably be... I'm gonna give the plot an 8. And, like, I just really like... I think it definitely has the most solid plot out of the prequels by far, because this is... Again, they're stuffing all the good stuff that they have, that George sort of planned is in this film, you know. So I think the idea of having Anakin turn and all that, I love having that inside the film. I love seeing that. I think, you know, I don't really have much else to say, actually. This is probably a really shitty review from me, because I can't really say too much about the plot.
No problem. We'll get back to it. Actually, we'll kind of save that here for the very end. Aiden, go ahead. Just quickly rank the plot here.
I'm gonna give it a 6. I think it's a good plot. Like, if you told me that was the plot of the movie, I'd be like, that sounds like a pretty awesome movie. I just don't think it's executed very well. I think Anakin's turn. I think it just has to do with all the prequels. Like, in my opinion, I think that's what this movie should have been all 3 prequels, just split up. I think. The whole trilogy should have been about Anakin turning. It just feels really rushed in this. Like, it takes him like 30 minutes, and then he's like, okay, I'm on the dark side. So that's mostly my problem with it.
Cool. Yeah, we can talk about that a little more. I'll quickly go. I give it a 4. I'm cool giving everything else in this movie kind of a higher thing and everything, but the plot for me is what really sinks it, what makes it not top tier for me. And it's got to just do with Anakin. I know the Clone Wars came out, and obviously that clears up a lot of things and stuff, but just looking at this movie itself when it came out, it wasn't executed very well. I don't think it was played very well, and I think Anakin's turns just was done pretty badly, and that's the one thing that needed to be done very well. It's the most like important thing to Star Wars.
That's what it's.
And it just wasn't done very well, in my opinion. But let's go ahead and just get our final score really quick. What did you guys what'd you guys give it? I guess average score here out of 10. The whole movie. What'd you give it, Mark?
I didn't give it anything at the moment. Hold up. So they got a sec.
No problem. What about you, Aiden? What'd you give it?
I gave it a 5.8 out of 10.
Me too. I got a 5.8 out of 10 as well. And we did not plan that, by the way. That is what happened.
Did we get the exact same score on everything? No.
I don't think so. No, but it somehow totaled out an average to be 5.8, so that's pretty cool.
I'm just adding my critical score up. You guys are going to see what happens in a bit. I've got a special thing I planned for this.
Cool.
You guys are going to see. You guys are going to see this.
What do you give it?
I gave it a 7.6 out of 10.
7.6?
But here we go. Here's the big one. I'm gonna give it a plus 10 for enjoyment, right? so let's put this all into perspective, right? So we get 7. All right, 7.8 out of 10 is my critical score, right?
Okay.
but if my math is correct, this film's a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Interesting.
Man.
Must have been a lot of outliers there. Anyway, awesome, man. I mean, that's what you want to give it? That's what you want to give it, man.
No. I would realistically give this film probably like an 8, like a solid 8.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
It is a fun film.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Matt, what would you give it out of 5 stars?
Out of 5, I'd probably give it 4. But honestly, I would give it 4. Maybe awesome. It's not quite 4.5. I'd give it a 4.
Awesome. What about you, Aiden?
I give it a 3.
Yeah.
Cool. And I give it a 3 out of 5 as well. It's like right there in that halfway mark of good and bad for me.
Yeah, I feel that.
How do you guys feel about the 80% Rotten Tomatoes score? Would you agree with that, Mark? Or would you bump it?
Well, I think personally, on its own, I don't really think that the 80% score, I don't really think it's really like, I don't know. I personally wouldn't put it all the way. Like, you know, me personally, I would put it up there, but that's not because of the movie itself. I would put it up there because it's of all the other weight that goes along with it. You know, I don't watch Revenge of the Sith on its own and go, that's an incredible film. No, I watch Revenge of the Sith and go, dude, this film is literally it completes everything. This film completes everything. It's like, nah, that's why I like it so much. But on its own, I don't really think it's the best of the prequels, but I don't really think it's like the best, you know. Yeah. It's probably not the best on Rotten Tomatoes either. Like, you know, I would probably expect it to be like, I actually didn't think it was that. I thought it was a bit lower, personally. That was a bit surprising, but yeah, nah. I think I would have thought it'd be at least like a 70 or something, or like a 60. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Aiden? Do you agree, or what would you do?
I'd give it like a 60, 70 maybe.
Nice.
I'm like okay with 80 because I know like a lot of people do love this movie, but just in my personal opinion, it's not like quite 80 level for me.
Yeah, I think I kind of like I'm cool with 80. That's all right. I'm not gonna come out here and be like that's atrocious, but I would personally lower it to probably like a 65, maybe a 60. For itself. Even with everything that's built on it, even including the prequels, I still keep it there in that 60s, maybe 70s range. What baffles me is how Attack of the Clones doesn't have a lower score. I think it's like a 65 or something. I put Attack of the Clones pretty dang low, but for some reason it's
give that like a 30.
Yes.
What are you talking about? This film's the best. Come on, man. You're telling me you don't like the Naboo fight scene, bro? You're telling me you don't like sand, bro?
You don't like that factory scene?
Oh gosh, don't even get me started.
Attack of the Clones, love it. But anyway, it was cool to talk to you, Mark. Cool to hear your thoughts on this movie and everything. If you got any plugs you want to give here, you want anybody to check out your Instagram here? Everybody check out.
Go check out. Whoa, he stole that guy's pizza. actually, hang on. I'll get the seed up.
Heck yeah.
I can pull this up on Insta. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, we have it.
Whoa!
Yeah, round of applause. Anyway, man,
I do quotes every day on that account. I kind of copied Peter Screams, except I don't do one character. I do like everyone in a mix.
Yeah,
dude, that's awesome. Yeah, if you're a Raimi fan out there, check out that daily. Make sure you just check it out. And thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and let us know how you feel about Revenge of the Sith, and comment down below. Check us out on Instagram at The Elite Review Podcast. and we're continuing the Skywalker saga. So next we'll be doing Force Awakens, maybe Rogue One or Han Solo. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I think it's Force Awakens next.
Yeah, well, we didn't have Force Awakens, so if you want to hear some sequel talk and want to trash us for liking the sequels, then go ahead and we'll talk about it. But anyway, thanks for joining us, Mark.
No problem, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Anytime.